the initial link.
Mhm. Okay. Amen.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to do that.
What's up?
All right, Hotep, Hotep. So I'm gonna get started here. I hope everyone is having a good start to their morning. So I'm gonna mute your lines and I'll just start with our opening prayer, AI Phillies Deli prayer. So let me mute everyone and I'll get started. Okay. O Amen Ra, Mother who feeds us, Father who protects us, you watch upon the creation, you are the creation. O Amen Ra, your breath is the pulse of the cosmos, your shadow covers the universe, from east to west, from north to south. O Amen Ra, my heart is humble before your majesty. O Amen Ra, protect all of us. We are mortal and fallible. Remove from our path all obstacles and protect us from illness, meanness, greed, and envy. O you noble spirits, you watch upon the creation, you are the creation. We feel your presence in water, fire, earth, and air. We can hear you in thunder and the ocean's waves. Your brilliance is that of the stars in the midnight sky. Your radiance is that of the sun in the noon sky. O you noble ancestors, you watch upon the creation, you are the creation. Our blood is your blood, our flesh is your flesh. Look after us, we implore you. Some did not wake up this morning. Some will not go to bed tonight. Keep us alive, keep us healthy. Protect our children and their children. Protect our wives and husbands. Protect our neighbors and friends. Protect Africa, which needs it so much. Protect us who testify today about your greatness. Protect us, we who keep shrines dedicated to you and your glory. O you noble ancestors, the day is long, the night is long, and the opportunities to betray Ma'at are numerous and constant. Allow our heart to be inundated with Ma'atic thoughts. Allow that from our mouth only comes Ma'at and Ma'at only. Give us the courage and the strength, the integrity and the determination to fight for a better world, for an Africa that is united, strong, and free, for brothers and sisters who do not feel inferior anymore. Remind us all the time that it is better to die standing up than to live on our knees. O you noble ancestors, like you, we wish through our actions on earth and this life that you gave us to earn eternal life. Keep us on the path of Ma'at. Help us defeat Isfet, so that our children and our children's children call upon our names. Remind us night and day, whether we are asleep or awake, that unity is our aim and victory is our destiny. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. All right, everyone. Just wanted to open up our weekly crisis and response conference call with AI Philly's Daily Prayer. So, everyone on the line, welcome. Just to reiterate the stated purpose of this call, this is an opportunity for us as a community to stay connected and to check in periodically throughout the duration of this crisis. If you have any health and or safety concerns, this is definitely an opportunity for you to let us know so that we can be your system of support. If you have any essential resource concerns, such as food or medicine shortages, definitely let us know because, as I previously stated, we are a community and we want to come together and support one another during this time of crises. And last but not least, this call is an opportunity for us to provide any vital COVID-19 updates as we are getting them. The team was sharing articles back and forth with one another up until about 3 o'clock in the morning last night in preparation for this call, just to make sure that we have the most up to date information to share with you all. So with that being said, I will stress the importance. So the tone of today's call is really going to be we just want to stress the importance of how serious this is, this current situation is for our community. Generally speaking, there is a feeling of apathy in our community towards this whole situation. Folks are not taking it serious, and as a result, this thing really stands a chance of hitting our community really bad if we don't take it serious and fight back against a lot of the misinformation that's being spread out there. So I'm going to open up the line for our crisis response team to give you guys updates. So Sister Kizzy will provide an update on the just general environment. As you all know, she works for the Philadelphia Department of Health. So she is intimately familiar with everything going on with this situation. Sister Tahira will speak from a health or wellness perspective. Brother Maurice will give you all a safety update. And Sister Wahida will just give reminders of ways that we can continue to stay connected via enhanced communication mechanisms throughout this period. But before I open up the line, Sister Kizzy, I'm going to give it to you, but I just wanted to share a couple of articles that we shared with one another. These are just headlines, but you can go and find them for yourself. So the Philadelphia Inquirer on the 27th put out an article stating that Philadelphia area hospitals are bracing for the coronavirus surge. They believe that we are no more than 2 weeks behind New York. Um, CBS Philly put out a similar article. This was on the 26th of March, stating that Penn Medicine, in their latest model, they're expecting a tsunami of new cases to hit Philadelphia. And then yesterday, we know that over the weekend, Trump extended the period of his social distancing guidelines. So for the next 30 days, we'll be dealing with the same measures to keep ourselves safe. And then yesterday, Trump announced that Philadelphia is a disaster zone because of the coronavirus. So that opens up, not Philadelphia, I'm sorry, Pennsylvania is a disaster zone. So it opens up opportunity for Pennsylvania to receive disaster relief from the federal government. But the reason why I wanted to share all this is before our uh, crisis response team starts to speak, I just really want us to stress the importance of keeping ourselves safe, of staying home if we can, of practicing social distancing where possible. Try not to put yourself in any situation where you can pick this up. As Sister Kizzy stated last week, that in Philadelphia, the majority of cases are coming with young people between the ages of 20 and 39. So as young people, we may stand a chance to recover, but the issue is that we take this virus back to our home, and if we give it to our mothers or our grandmothers, their systems may not be as strong to recover from this situation. So it's really important that we all take this serious and we not be apathetic. So with that being said, Sister Kizzy, I'm going to open up the line. You can unmute your mic and you can get started.
Hotep, can everyone hear me?
Yep, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. All right, so I'll just pick it from the top and give everyone some brief information around numbers. So as of yesterday, the publicly available number of confirmed cases in Philadelphia was 1,072, with 9 confirmed deaths. Of those 9 deaths, I want to say 5 of them were in long-term care facilities. So that sort of offsets the population of older elders who have passed during this time. I'm not sure about the age range of the other 4. I know at least one was in their 50s, so that leaves 3 that I'm not sure about in terms of age or demographics. Oops, sorry, lost my place here. I also wanted to briefly talk about how these numbers are happening. So currently in the city, we're in a high community transmission rate. That means that you could be on the subway, touch a pole, touch your face, and potentially have transferred the virus to yourself from someone else picking up and dropping it on a surface. You don't necessarily have to come into direct contact with someone who's been a confirmed case or be in an area in which there's a high spread in order to get the disease at this point. There is a graph that you can access online at phila.gov/COVID-19 under updates. And this graph will give you the numbers by zip code. As of now, the 19146 area zip codes, the 19145, 19143, and 19147 all have cases at a rate of 40 to 52 a day. And that these numbers are aggregate, so they're coming in as we get them. Um, in total, in surrounding counties, there have been 249 cases. So that's Bucks County, Chester, Delaware, and Montgomery County. But Philadelphia is sort of leading the charge with an increase or an uptick in cases. Something that we have been talking about on the data team within the health department is sort of the demographics around these numbers. So how we're getting this information comes from a wide range of varied sources. Some of these sources have information on the races of individuals who have contracted the disease, and some of them don't. Of the totality of the numbers we have, maybe 15% of that data actually has information on race, age, sex in a comprehensive way. I bring that up to say that of that 15% that we do have all of those factors, age, race, sex, socioeconomic status, and zip code, we've seen a rise in African American communities contracting this virus. Now, that's not 100% of those numbers. Again, it's only 15% of the totality of the tests that we've gotten that we're able to narrow it down by race. But in that 15%, we've seen a rise in African American communities contracting the disease. So that kind of segues into the second piece of what I have to offer today around personal protective equipment and safety and what makes the most sense as a citizen and member of the public. There's a lot of ongoing conversation on a national level, on an international level, about the use of masks in public. And I think we need to begin to think about what the reasons as to why people would be out in the public in the first place in order to want or feel the desire or need to get these masks for home or personal use. As Brother Omawale stated at the beginning of this, we stringently urge you to stay at home if that as much as possible. We are also not ignorant to the fact that that's not necessarily a possibility for everybody. So if you have to go out and you make the choice to wear a mask, or you have questions on whether or not a homemade mask is going to be more effective than a medical grade mask, or if you need to go out and buy a medical grade mask, I would advise you not to go and sort of like bulk stock up on medical grade masks, simply because the general use should be for healthcare workers, essential service employees, and people who are sort of like in direct contact with the virus and those who have been positive. As it relates to homemade masks, if that's something that you feel you need in order to go do a food run or whatever it is that is going to have you out and exposed to the public, by all means do so. But I do not want you to walk out of your home with a homemade mask on thinking that you have the same level of protection as a medical grade mask. Homemade masks are generally a lot more porous due to material, cotton, than some of the medical grade ones. And so you'll likely only end up filtering 10 to 15% of what is floating out in the air. However, in terms of behavioral change, they can be effective in helping you to remember not to put your face or put your hands on your face, helping you to remember to maintain distance between yourself and another individual, as they do have a benefit in reducing droplet transmission, which are just microscopic pieces of bodily fluid that can carry the virus and latch onto a host. But that's also only effective if you're within 2 to 3 or 4 feet of someone, which you should not be in the first place. And so we are not telling you don't get masks, don't wear them. If that's something that you feel is going to be beneficial to you for the time in which you are out and about, you can do that, but do that knowing that the likelihood that you're adding a significant layer of protection is slim. I don't know if there's anything else, Brother Omawale, you wanted me to touch on, but I can do that if you need me to. But that kind of concludes my little blurb.
No, that was perfect, Sister Kizzy. If anyone has any questions during the Q&A for Sister Kizzy, Sister Keziah, definitely feel free to ask. But with that being said, thank you so much, Sister Tahira. I'll let you speak, give your wellness and health update for the community.
Hotep family, just taking a moment to go back to what Brother Omawali stated, these are really trying and serious times that we are in right now. So it certainly is important for everyone to adhere to the social distancing guidelines. But that doesn't mean that you can't still have some sort of quality of health. And one of the things that we're focused on as a community is the holistic health of everyone, mind, body, and spirit. So really, I just want to take a moment today to talk about mental health. Just from some of the information that I've been seeing floating around, I'm starting to really hear some of the concerns of just various members of our community in regards to when this situation is going to end, when they'll be able to resume regular normal life or just regular social behavior activities. And these are leading to feelings of anxiousness, panicky behavior, fearfulness, and even depression. So if you find yourself starting to feel any of those types of emotions, it's really important to just breathe through them. You can take deep breaths, maybe about 30 deep breaths in and out, and just inhale peace and tranquility and exhale any of those negative feelings of loneliness or anxiousness or angst, because they really will start to affect your overall well-being. And if you find that the deep breathing isn't working, you can try to incorporate meditation into your day just as a general practice. If you're able to sit still and meditate for maybe 30 minutes a day, that will really do a lot for your mental clarity. And if you can't sit that still for 30 minutes, you can always start with 15 minutes and go in increments from that point. And if you're finding that that's not working, it's important to be active and just work through any of these lower emotions that you may be feeling. So you want to make sure you are getting exercise during this time. Again, we do need to maintain social distancing, but you can go and experience the outdoors and still adhere to any social distancing guidelines. So if you are comfortable walking around your neighborhood, just make sure you go out and get air throughout the day and sunlight, get that vitamin D, and it's really going to just do a lot for your overall well-being. And if you live in the Philadelphia area, Martin Luther King Drive has been closed down to encourage recreational activity. So that's a great spot to just take in the freshness of the air and do jogging or walking the trail, even bicycling right there in the streets. And lastly, just to touch on today, the media. We are going to be your legitimate source for news and information. So feel free to tap into our resources. But if you do feel that you need to get updates from other sources, if you're watching a regular daily news, really just try not to take in any of those feelings of fear that might be promoted in the midst of this pandemic. So I would say really limit your exposure to intake of news. And when you do take in any kind of updates, just make sure that they are from reliable sources. And you have to take breaks throughout the day. We're constantly bombarded with news of the coronavirus through social media, regular news stations, and you really want to just make sure you're maintaining your mental clarity. And we're going to get through this situation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sister Tyra. I mean, two things that just to reiterate, some of the points that you raised, like just getting, 8 hours of sleep if you can, and exercising, right? That'll keep your body and give your body a fighting chance, right? To if you in the event that you do contract the virus or the disease, that your body may have a fighting chance of fighting it off, right? Keep your immune system strong just by getting rest and exercising if possible, maybe just 60 minutes a day, going out for a walk or jogging, whatever it is that you need to do to keep yourself uh, well. So thank you so much, Sister Tahir. Brother Maurice, I'm going to open up the line for you with any safety updates you may have.
Hotep, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you now.
Okay. I'm going to be short. I just want to go over a few things like statistics And I do want to reiterate what everyone else is saying by staying at home. And usually when I look at some statistics referring to COVID, I look at particular patterns, and through these patterns, I kind of proves that people, a lot of people are doing what they're supposed to do. Unfortunately, I can kind of gauge that from the different types of crimes that's happening, and within the last 30 days, they actually started to go down. Except for one particular crime that has not been going down, that's shooting. They're actually increasing. So I want to talk a little bit about that, and also a little bit about the isolation incidents that I'm, hearing about, every so often, which is not something that they necessarily take too many statistics on because it's very vague. But I would ask if anyone has any questions or if they have any issues or if they see anything to call 911, and that pretty much would go from there. But I want to go over some statistics. One being robbery by gun, robbery by other. Everywhere there is like violent crime that is going up in Philadelphia, it's like we have a pre-existing condition because Philadelphia is, unfortunately, to a degree, one of the more violent cities here in America. But so Philadelphia and all violent crime areas have been going up. But what I have seen is within the last 30 days, robberies have gone down to like 11.7%. And then you have robberies by, robbery other, which includes, absence of a weapon, which is also going down about 7.5%. And what that pretty much is that, people are not, although people are targets, people are, for the most part, adherent, because when you're not out in the street, you're not making yourself a target. So I will emphasize that through these patterns, it is showing that if you do stay home and take precaution and listen to the order, that you won't be making yourself out to be a target based on these numbers. And I want to also go down to burglaries. Most burglaries are committed during the day. And there's an interesting statistic. Like I said, in all areas, we're up this year, this time versus last year. But I want to look at the burglaries, again, which is most burglaries are committed during the day. Within the last 30 days, burglaries have went down 8.5%, which means that people are actually at home. And this is the reason why the numbers are actually going down, because the previous 30 days, the numbers were actually up. So there's a trend in that. Burglary, commercial burglaries is interesting because that went up. That's because businesses are actually closing down. So the opportunists have to focus their efforts somewhere else. So the commercial burglaries are up actually like 16.7%. One of the things I recognize that's up and steadily going up are some of the shootings here in Philadelphia, unfortunately. But these guys that are out here, shooting people, not necessarily shooting random people, but I look at it as if you are practicing social distancing and you're in the house as much as possible. And again, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just looking at numbers and I just follow the patterns. If you're practicing social distancing and staying in the house as much as possible, all these, individuals that have issues or beef with each other that's out here doing crimes by gun, you won't be so much as in the way or much as a target. The last thing I wanted to talk about again was cybercrime, as we spoke about last week. I'm not sure if you all know, but there is a issue with Zoom. The government had put out an article about Zoom being a target for racial content, pornographic content. Please make sure that when you are using Zoom, or if you have to, that you do it in a private setting and not so much as a public setting. And when you open yourself up to the public setting, this is how these individuals are infiltrating Zoom. and hijacking Zoom conferences or meetings. So again, I just say, just please be careful. We will get through this if we just adhere to the information that's being put out on Slack or the information that we put out on Tuesday morning. And if you have any questions regarding any safety or any issues, please feel free to share when we get the opportunity to do so. Thank you.
Hey, Brother Maurice, just out of curiosity, and you mentioned some stats around like robbery and different types of crimes in the city. With the increase in stay-at-home orders or shelter in place, are we seeing any uptick in domestic violence? And if so, are there resources that people can look for support in this current situation? Would you advise?
Yeah. As of right now, there's no hard statistics. I just base your question on what I know from coworkers that I've been calling. There is a rise in domestic calls. There are rises in assault or even unfortunately on children, because children are at home dealing with parents that are not necessarily doing what the parents should be doing. But also as far as resources are concerned, I have a couple of folks. There is a new hotline that they developed, and because what's happening is a lot of these calls are going to 911, and they're taking calls over the phone. So they're being misdirected. I don't have that information now, but to Tahira's point, we really got to practice, mental wellness, because we can't. The police department, I believe, over time is going to be overwhelmed with a lot of domestic calls because everyone is at home. So as of right now, it's just a 911 call.
Okay, that helps. All right. Sister Wahida, I'm going to mute everyone, but Sister Wahida, you can unmute your mic and provide any update related to communications.
What's up, everyone? Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Just a couple quick updates on communication. We just want to reiterate the sentiments that everyone has made about us as a community taking this very seriously, especially as we are a vulnerable population as this crisis will develop. In order to better stay connected to us immediately, we did create a new public COVID-19 channel on our Slack workspace. So if you would like to join that workspace, where we will just share information immediately, and you can immediately reach our leadership team, please contact Victory at aiphilly.org. That's Victory at aiphilly.org. I did put that in the chat for those of you who are on the call. And then there is a link to subscribe to our newsletter. If you subscribe to our newsletter, you'll definitely see some information and links to our health and wellness resources that we're going to put in there. I do believe we'll also start to include some educational resources for some people, as now is a great time for kids staying at home to tap into some homeschooling resources and so forth. So we will be adding that to that as well. So make sure you do subscribe to the newsletter so you're receiving those communications. And then just in general, follow our social media channels so you can keep up with what we have going on as a chapter. I did drop the links there in the chat as well, but for those of you who can't see the chat, where you can find us at Facebook at AI Philadelphia, on Twitter at AI_Philly, and same as IG, Instagram at AI_Philly. We also want you to go to our YouTube channel. Please like, subscribe, share. I did drop the link, but for those of you who can't see access to chat, you can search Afrocentricity International Philadelphia chapter. Again, that's Afrocentricity International Philadelphia, and you should see our page chat pop up. And then from there, we will be posting our COVID-19 calls on the YouTube, and you will receive, make sure you set your alerts so that you can tap into these conference calls every Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. We also will be posting weekend updates in order to sort of answer any questions that were raised during this conference call, or provide any updates that may occur in the community between now and the weekend. So again, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel for all of that. And just some other things, make sure that during this time, you keep in mind to respect other people in their space. Some people, again, aren't taking this seriously. So we want to just remind ourselves socially to understand that there are plenty of people that may be immunocompromised. So while this might not be a big deal to someone, yourself or someone in the family, you should take it seriously. And it may be it is a big deal to plenty of people, especially those who may not be able to handle this the way you are, or may not be going through a good time, or there may be a lot of other situations happening in people's lives that we aren't aware of. So besides that, if you have any, I do want to drop in that we will be, in light of the situation, creating a website. So we will be getting that out to people as soon as possible. So look out for that as well. Other than that, that's pretty much all I have at this time. Brother Omawale.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sister Wahida, for that update. Just really quick, we shared some of these crisis-related or preparedness-related programming that AI Philly has been working on, and we are definitely looking to develop additional programs and workshops to continue to assist our community. So the elder care program, we kicked that off last week with a partnership with the Philadelphia Peace Park, where we provided produce care packages to elders in the community. I believe that the Peace Park in general had provided over 150 care packages, and of that, they gave 20 of those packages to AI, which we disseminated to elders in our network. So that was definitely a success, and that will be a monthly event. So there'll be more information to come about that. We are still looking for volunteers to assist with shopping for our elders. Remember, our elders are the most, our elders, those who may have respiratory issues or those who may have compromised immune systems, are really the most vulnerable in our community. And the reason why we've been stressing on call, like the need to, shelter in place or stay at home or practice social distancing if you do have to go out, is because young people are the ones who are really catching this. Like we stated in Philadelphia, the predominant or the majority of cases are between the ages of 20 and 39. So it's young people catching this and then bringing it back to other people in the community. And we really just don't want our folks to be in the hospital right now. The last place we want to be is the hospital, because the hospital is being overwhelmed with cases. And if we don't slow the spread of this situation down, if we don't slow the spread of this virus by practicing social distancing, we risk being in a situation where there is a run on the resources of the hospital, and there's not enough beds available to treat the people who need to be treated. And that's not a situation that we want to be in a community. That's not a situation that we want to be in as a community. So that's why we continue to stress that we need to take this thing serious, and be a source of good information, because there's a lot of misinformation going on out there. So with that being said, I am now going to open up the line for the community. If you have any health concerns or safety concerns, please do let us know. If you have any questions, let us know. If you could just, state your name and your zip code, and try to keep your commentary from 1 to 2 minutes, that would be a very big help. So with that being said, I'll open up the line. Feel free to unmute your mic and ask any question that you may have. Thank you. Sister Ramona, it looks like you're trying to unmute your mic. I can unmute you if you want me. So I think I can unmute you. I guess I can't. But Sister Ramona, it looks like you were trying to unmute your mic. But okay, your mic is unmuted, but if you're speaking, we can't hear you. And if I don't know if it may be an audio situation with your laptop or your computer, but what you can do, there's dial-in info as well. Like, so if you want to dial in by phone, you can do that too. You can still stay on the line. You don't have to get off, but you can dial in by phone, and you can speak that way as well. In the meantime, was there anything that anyone on the crisis response team and any additional information that you had that maybe you wanted to share or?
Sister Ramona, you can also utilize the chat option if you're unable to do dial in, and we can ask a question for you.
I'm trying to give her at least 60 seconds, another minute here to, if she is going to dial in, to dial in. If not, I'll close out. If no one else has any other questions and or concerns.
We have somebody who messaged the chat. This is from EK. Hotep, everyone. I am Shanuti Kana, and I'm here with you on the call. I thank you so much for the call. Thank you, Shanuti Kana. We appreciate you being here.
Yeah, Asante Sana.
I have a question about what is the scene or process looking like when I know Mayor Kinney just said released information that they will be distributing food on Mondays and Thursdays, I believe it was, in addition to school food for kids. So what is that process or scene looking like, and how is that working out?
Um, Brother Maurice, Sister Kizzy, can one of you take that?
Sure. um, so it's fairly simple. There's a list of a host of different sites. You can also access that list through the phila.gov/COVID-19 underneath services and support. But basically, you'll come to wherever site is closest to you. One thing I will say about those sites, there seems to be a deficit in the Northeast, in sort of like the upper Germantown, upper Mount Airy areas. I think the closest free food site to that location might be around Oni, but this is just me sort of remembering off the top of my head from the map that's available on that site. But in terms of process, you don't need any sort of form of identification or anything like that. The sites are open, I want to say Monday and Thursdays from 10 to noon, and you get a box of food that should last you 5 days. You can take that box of food. It's like one box per family. And then the school sites are operating a little bit differently. And I think that just falls into the time. I'm actually trying to pull it up now as I'm talking, but it would be the same process. Young people, if you are the person who has to leave your home to go get the food, they're able, like kids are able to go in independently to the schools and pick up, I think it's 3 breakfasts, 3 lunches, and then they'll come back after they've,
ran out of the first 3 meals and come back again for the next 3 breakfast and lunch options as well. But from what I'm hearing from the people who have volunteered with us, it's a very sort of seamless process. There isn't a lot of back and forth. If you need the food, we have it. Here it is.
Is there any health or safety concerns in terms of the groups of people, or grouping,
So
or like concerns of people becoming targets, picking up food or anything like that?
And I'm glad you asked that question. So to the health and safety piece first, it's my understanding that they're taking the same sort of precautions one would take in any other, well, I shouldn't say any other because all grocery stores are not operating like this, but for the most part, there are stores who have limited the amount of people who can come into a space at one time, sanitizing people on their way in and on their way out. And it's my assumption that these same practices are happening at these drop sites. I will actually be at one of them for the first time next week. So if I don't have anything to offer in terms of firsthand knowledge on Tuesday, that's definitely something that can be in the update for the end of next week, just so that I can speak clearly about what it looks like, how they're sort of distributing things. But in terms of people being targets for picking up food, I would defer to Maurice on that, especially with young people having to go out and get these boxes or get this food independently and go back to their homes. I personally have some questions and thoughts around what that looks like and how best to sort of mitigate your risk in transferring food, whether you paid for it or you got it for free from a drop site back home.
Okay, I have a couple of comments here in the chat that I want to read really quickly. So this is from Sister Ramona. She says, Hotep family, this is Sister Asasia. I have enjoyed the dialogue. Please be safe out there. I am most interested in helping with senior shopping. We'll reach out later. Peace and love and wellness. Hoteps. All right. Thank you so much, Sister Asasia. From Sister Arlene, she says, in Northwest Philadelphia, the Dare to Imagine Church on Upsall and Upper Room Baptist Church in West Oak Lane on Ogans Ave are among those the Mastery Charter School in Germantown gives to children. I'm assuming she's referring to among the drop sites where people can pick up food. And EK, brother EK, Shanuti EK says, keep safe, stay home, and continue showing this leadership and protect each other, especially protecting our elders. Please share with me the prayer. We definitely will, brother or sister. I'm sorry, I'm not. This is my first time being introduced, so, but we'll most certainly share that with you. Sister, okay, thank you so much. All right, so we'll definitely share that with you for sure. Just last but not least, I see a few other names in the chat. We would definitely like to know how folks found out about this call so we can be effective and continue and to share the information. So there's a Bethy Victorin on the line. And all the other names here look familiar, but sister or brother Bethy, if you can just let us know how you found out about the call today, that would be very helpful. And feel free to introduce yourself if you would like to do so. Okay. All right. So I'm not sure if they have the capability to unmute, but if no one else has any other questions, thank you all for joining us today. Brother Maurice, Sister Tahira, do either one of you feel comfortable closing us out in prayer today, or are y'all going to force me to do it? Was that a laugh? All right, brother Maurice, you up the bat, brother. Close us out. Close us out strong.
All right, brother. All right. I'd like to thank the ancestors for this opportunity for us to come together responsibly and give out information for our people in order that they may do what is necessary for us to stick together, to get through this, and also to be educated on what exactly to do in a time like this. I'd like to also thank the ancestors for allowing us to be with one another in a time like this, and we take advantage of these times to make sure that we know what's most important: family, love, and respect towards one another. We ask the ancestors to continue to watch over our families as well as the city, and that we may be also sensitive to what the ancestors is telling us, what they're showing us, and how we should be able to get through this. I ask also that the ancestors not allow the negativity to infiltrate our minds, body, and spirit, and that we will also, again, be responsible to the ancestors' call. And in saying that, I like to say, as we all say for AI, victory is our aim. And am I saying it right?
Unity is our aim, and victory
Unity is our aim,
and victory
and
is our
victory is our
destiny.
destiny.
Ashe.
Ashe.
All right. Y'all have a good one, everybody. Be safe. Practice your social distancing and stay at home if you can. All right. Hotep.
Hotep.